We are now going to learn how to organize qualitative data in tables and construct bar graphs. The 2010 census results include a summary of the racial composition of the population. The races reported by the populations of the United States and the state of California are summarized in the table that you see. The data is given in millions, therefore, the number of people in the United States who identify themselves as American Indian or Alaska Native was 2,900,000. The best way to compare these two populations is using relative frequency, because that tells us what percent of the population belongs to each particular racial description, racial category in the United States versus the racial composition of each category in California. So in order to be able to compute the relative frequency, the very first thing we need to be able to find is the population size. Therefore, I use capital N because we're dealing with the entire population. Going to the part underneath the population, we notice we're going to be able to find the population of the United States. So we go to Auto Sum, and we're going to press Enter. If you have a Mac, you're going to go to the formula, and you're also going to go to Auto Sum, and you get exactly the same information. Now we want to copy what we did. So we go to the bottom of the box where we see a plus sign. We left click and we scroll it across. Now we want to be able to compute the relative frequency, which is basically the population proportion in decimal notation as opposed to percents. We are creating a formula, and every time we create a formula on an Excel spreadsheet, we have to press our equal sign. Now, let's go back. The relative frequency formula says that we take the frequency for each category and we divide it by the population size or the sample size. Therefore, here we're going to click on the population size who identified themselves as white for the United States, divided by the population for the entire United States in the year 2010. Since we have to do this for all of the different categories, and all of them are going to be divided by 308,700,000, we want this to be able to be what we call a fixed cell. So on a PC, you're going to type in the F4 button, and notice the dollar signs appear around the letter C, which makes it a fixed cell. If you have a Mac, you're going to press the Command button and the letter T, and again you will see the same symbols around the cell number, the cell letter versus the number. Again, we press the Enter button. And in order to be able to copy this, we go again to the bottom right-hand corner where we have the positive sign, and we click down. Again, we want to create the relative frequency for the population distribution according to race in California. Once again, we are creating a formula, so we're going to click our equal sign. Again, we're going to take the 21,500,000, and we're going to divide that by the 37,300,000. Again, I want that to be a fixed cell. So we press on the F4 button on a PC. Again, you're going to press Command T if you have a Mac. Notice the dollar signs appear, and that helps us know that we've done this correctly. We press the Enter button, the equal, and again we go to the lower right hand corner with the plus sign, left click, and we scroll down. Now we're ready to draw or to construct our bar graph. Now we're going to have a double bar graph because we have the relative frequency for the population in the United States according to race and the population in California according to race. So in order to do that, the first thing we do is we are going to click the entire column of race. Do not let go of the mouse. You're going to press the Control button because the columns are not adjacent. Then we're going to click on the relative frequency columns, and that will give us the columns that we need for graphing. In order to do that, again, we go to the Insert button. We're going to the column chart, and we're going to insert a 3D graph. We click on that, and there's the graphic representation. And what I want to do is enlarge this a little bit and show you how we can edit this information. And notice you have the different races listed, and on the y-axis we have the relative frequencies, and over here the blue and the red say relative frequency, but we want to indicate that the blue represents the population of the United States and the red represents the population in California. So in order to do that, you're going to right click on your mouse and you're going to go to select data. And what that does is it gives us the ability to edit the information. So we're going to go to the first one, which is the blue line, and we're going to edit the information. And I want that to say United States. So I click on the cell that says United States. I press OK, and that's going to appear on our graph. Now I go to the second relative frequency, which is for California. Again, I go to Edit. I'm going to click on the cell where I have the word California or that particular name. Once I click OK, you're going to notice that that appears there also. We don't need to edit any of the categories according to race. We press OK. We now edited this information, so we have the double bar graph, and we can now compare the population distribution of the United States versus California and see how they're racially different.